Woman gives birth to a two-headed baby that can speak. How did this happen? To find out, watch the video to the end. But first, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications to get more stories like this. It was an ordinary day when Clara felt the first stirrings of labor. She and her husband, Mark, had been eagerly awaiting this moment for 9 months, imagining all the milestones their child would achieve. Their small house was filled with baby clothes, toys, and furniture ready for their new arrival. Clara, a school teacher with a nurturing spirit, and Mark, a mechanical engineer with an analytical mind, had spent hours planning for every possible scenario, or so they thought. As the contractions began, Mark scrambled to grab the hospital bag they'd packed weeks in advance. Clara clutched her belly, her face a mix of pain and anticipation. "It's time, isn't it?" she asked, her voice trembling. Mark nodded, trying to remain calm even though his own heart was racing. "We're ready," he said, guiding her to the car. "Let's meet our baby." The drive to the hospital was tense but uneventful. Clara focused on her breathing exercises while Mark kept glancing at her, offering reassurances. "You're doing great, Clara. We're almost there." By the time they arrived, the contractions were more frequent, and Clara was quickly wheeled into the maternity ward. Nurses buzzed around her, checking vitals and monitoring the baby's progress. Dr. Patel, their trusted obstetrician, arrived moments later, her presence calming Clara's nerves. "Let's see how our little one is doing," Dr. Patel said, performing an ultrasound. Her brow furrowed slightly as she examined the screen. "What is it?" Clara asked, her voice tight with worry. Dr. Patel quickly masked her expression with a reassuring smile. "Everything looks fine," she said. "Let's focus on bringing your baby into the world." But Clara noticed the flicker of hesitation in Dr. Patel's eyes. Something wasn't quite right. Hours later, the delivery room was a flurry of activity. Clara gripped Mark's hand as she pushed, her body trembling with effort. The nurses encouraged her, their voices a steady rhythm of support. "Almost there, Clara. You're doing amazing." Finally, the baby emerged, and for a brief moment, there was silence. Then, the cry of a newborn filled the room, a sound that should have been comforting but felt oddly strained. Clara's breath hitched as she saw the expressions on the faces of the medical staff. Dr. Patel held the baby, her movements careful as she cleaned and examined the newborn. "Congratulations," she said slowly, her voice measured. "You have a very unique baby." Clara's exhaustion turned to confusion. "What do you mean unique?" she asked, her eyes darting to Mark, who looked equally bewildered. Dr. Patel hesitated before stepping closer, revealing the baby swaddled in a blanket. As she pulled back the fabric, Clara and Mark gasped. The baby had 2 heads, each with its own distinct features, blinking and squirming in the light. Clara's hands flew to her mouth. "Oh my God!" Mark stared, his voice barely above a whisper. "How is this possible?" Dr. Patel's tone was gentle but firm. "Your baby has a rare condition called dicephalic parapagus. It's an incredibly rare form of conjoined twinning, where 2 heads share a single body. This is not something we could have predicted during your routine ultrasounds." The room felt like it was spinning as Clara tried to process the words. "Are they healthy?" she managed to ask. Dr. Patel nodded. "As far as we can tell, both heads are fully functional, and their shared body seems to be developing normally. We'll need to run additional tests to be sure." Tears streamed down Clara's face as she looked at her baby. Her babies? She wasn't even sure how to think about them. One head let out a wail, while the other turned toward her voice, its eyes wide and curious. "They're beautiful," she whispered, her maternal instincts overriding her shock. "They're ours." The days following the birth were a whirlwind of emotions and challenges. Clara and Mark stayed at the hospital as the medical team conducted tests and monitored the twins' condition. The babies, whom they named Emma and Ellie, quickly became the talk of the hospital. Doctors marveled at their unique physiology, while nurses couldn't help but coo over their expressive faces. But it wasn't just their appearance that captivated everyone. Within days, Emma and Ellie began making sounds, first coos, then babbles that seemed unusually coordinated for newborns. By the end of their first week, the twins were forming distinct syllables, their voices blending in a melodic harmony. Clara was the first to notice. One evening, as she rocked them in her arms, she heard Ellie murmur, "Ma." Her heart skipped a beat. "Mark," she called, her voice trembling with excitement. "Come here." "I think she just said mama." Mark rushed into the room, his eyes wide. "Already? That's incredible." As if on cue, Emma chimed in with a soft duh, her tiny mouth forming the word with surprising precision. Clara and Mark stared at each other, their amazement mirrored in their expressions. "These girls are something special," Clara said, her voice filled with wonder. Mark nodded, his hand gently brushing over their soft heads. "More than we ever imagined." As weeks turned into months, Emma and Ellie continued to defy expectations. By the time they were 6 months old, their vocabulary had expanded far beyond that of typical infants. They spoke in short sentences, often finishing each other's thoughts as if their minds were perfectly in sync. "Do you think they understand each other in a way we can't?" Mark asked one evening as they watched the twins play with their toys. Clara nodded. "It's like they're two souls sharing one journey. They have their own bond, something we'll never fully comprehend. But with their remarkable abilities came new challenges. Everywhere Clara and Mark went, people stared. Some were curious, others were judgmental. The whispers and pointing fingers became a constant reminder of how different their daughters were. "Why can't people just see how amazing they are?" Clara said one day, her frustration boiling over after an encounter with a particularly rude stranger. Mark placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Because people fear what they don't understand. But it's our job to show them that Emma and Ellie are more than their differences." As Emma and Ellie grew, their extraordinary abilities became even more evident. By the time they were a year old, their speech was not only fluent but also remarkably sophisticated for their age. They spoke to each other in ways that astonished Clara and Mark, often discussing their surroundings, toys, and even their parents in a way that suggested a deep understanding of the world around them. "Ellie, look at the light," Emma would say, pointing toward the ceiling. "It's shiny," Ellie replied, giggling. "Do you think it's like the stars?" Clara, who was folding laundry nearby, paused to listen. Her heart swelled with both pride and amazement. It was as if the twins had their own little world, one that was richer and more interconnected than she or Mark could ever have imagined. Despite their unique bond, Emma and Ellie's lives were anything but simple. Clara and Mark quickly realized that raising twins with two heads, and the public scrutiny that came with it, would require more than just love and patience. They faced constant questions from strangers, often invasive and insensitive. At the grocery store, an elderly woman leaned over their stroller, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Are they conjoined?" she asked, her voice hushed but loud enough for others to hear. "Yes," Clara replied, her tone polite but firm. "They're conjoined twins." The woman's gaze lingered, and Clara could feel the judgment behind her next words. "Must be hard for them living like that?" Before Clara could respond, Ellie's head turned toward the woman. "We're not hard," she said, her little voice clear and confident. Emma chimed in, "We're happy." The woman's mouth fell open, and she quickly backed away, muttering something under her breath. Clara knelt down to the twins, her eyes brimming with tears. "You two are amazing," she whispered. "Never let anyone make you feel otherwise." As the twins approached their second birthday, Clara and Mark decided it was time to introduce them to the outside world in a more structured way. They enrolled Emma and Ellie in a local daycare, hoping it would help them socialize and adapt to being around other children. But the decision wasn't without its challenges. On their first day, Clara held their small hands as they walked into the brightly colored classroom. The other children stopped what they were doing, their eyes wide as they took in the sight of the twins. Some whispered to each other, while others openly stared. "Hi, everyone," Clara said, trying to project confidence. "This is Emma and Ellie. They're very excited to meet you." The twins smiled shyly, their heads turning in unison to scan the room. "Hi," they said together, their voices harmonious. One little boy pointed at them, his face scrunched in confusion. "Why do they have two heads?" Clara knelt beside the twins and addressed the group. "Emma and Ellie are conjoined twins. That means they share one body but have two heads. They're just like you, but a little different." A girl with pigtails stepped forward, her curiosity outweighing her hesitation. "Can they play with us?" "Of course," Clara said, smiling. "They love to play." Emma and Ellie joined the group, their initial shyness fading as they interacted with the other children. They played with blocks, shared crayons, and even sang along during circle time. By the end of the day, they had made new friends, and Clara couldn't have been prouder. While the twins were thriving socially, Clara and Mark faced new challenges at home. Emma and Ellie's advanced intelligence meant they often asked questions that were difficult to answer. "Why do people stare at us?" Emma asked one evening as Clara tucked them into bed. "Because we're different," Ellie added, her voice tinged with sadness. Clara sat on the edge of their bed, her heart aching at their vulnerability. "People stare because they don't understand how special you are," she said gently. "But being different is what makes you amazing. You have something no one else has, a bond that's stronger than anything." "Like superheroes?" Emma asked, her eyes lighting up. "Exactly," Clara said with a smile. "You're my little superheroes." The twins giggled, their spirits lifted by the comparison. As they drifted off to sleep, Clara stayed by their side, silently vowing to protect them from the world's harsh judgments. As Emma and Ellie continued to grow, their talents became impossible to ignore. By the age of 3, they were not only speaking in full sentences but also reading simple books and solving puzzles meant for much older children. Their unique way of thinking, likely a result of their shared brain power, allowed them to approach problems with remarkable creativity and insight. One day, Mark brought home a toy robot that required assembly. He thought it would be a fun family activity, but before he could even unpack the instructions, the twins had taken over. "Daddy, the arms go here," Ellie said, holding up a small piece. "No, Ellie," Emma corrected, pointing to the diagram. "The arms go here and the wheels go there." Mark watched in amazement as the twins worked together, their movements synchronized as they assembled the robot in record time. When they finished, they looked up at him, beaming with pride. "We did it," they said in unison. Mark laughed, shaking his head in disbelief. "You two are going to change the world someday," he said, pulling them into a hug. But with their extraordinary abilities came an ever-growing spotlight. News of the twins' intelligence and unique condition began to spread, attracting attention from local media and beyond. Reporters reached out for interviews, and some even camped outside the house, hoping to catch a glimpse of the remarkable sisters. Clara and Mark were torn. On one hand, they wanted to protect their daughter's privacy and shield them from unwanted scrutiny. On the other, they recognized the potential to use the platform to advocate for acceptance and understanding. After much deliberation, they agreed to a single televised interview with a respected journalist. The twins, now 4 years old, sat on the couch between Clara and Mark, their heads held high as the cameras rolled. "Emma and Ellie," the journalist began, her tone warm and inviting, "how do you feel about being twins who share one body?" "We like it," Ellie said without hesitation. "It's fun," Emma added. "We always have someone to talk to." The journalist smiled. "What do you want people to know about you?" The twins exchanged a glance, their connection palpable. "That we're just like other kids," Emma said. "We just have 2 heads," Ellie finished. The interview aired to widespread acclaim, with viewers praising the twins' courage and intelligence. Clara and Mark were overwhelmed by the outpouring of support, but they knew the journey was far from over. While many celebrated Emma and Ellie's uniqueness, others continued to view them through a lens of pity or fascination. After the televised interview, life changed significantly for Emma and Ellie. Their story sparked conversations worldwide about diversity, inclusion, and the power of embracing differences. People sent letters and gifts, expressing admiration and support for the twins. However, the increased attention also brought new challenges, as the family had to navigate the fine line between celebrating the twins' uniqueness and preserving their privacy. One evening, as Clara sorted through a pile of mail, she came across a letter from a local elementary school. It was an invitation for Emma and Ellie to speak at an upcoming assembly on the theme of celebrating uniqueness. "Do you think they're ready for something like this?" Claire asked Mark, holding up the letter. Mark nodded thoughtfully. "They've already shown they can handle public attention. And this could be a great opportunity for them to inspire other kids." When Clara brought the idea to the twins, their faces lit up with excitement. "We get to talk to other kids?" Emma asked, bouncing on her feet. "And tell them about being twins?" Ellie added, her eyes sparkling. Clara smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "That's right. But only if you want to." "We want to," they said in unison. The day of the assembly arrived, and the school auditorium buzzed with anticipation. Students and teachers filled the seats, eager to meet the twins they had seen on TV. Clara and Mark sat in the front row, their nervous excitement mirrored in the proud smiles they exchanged. Emma and Ellie took the stage, their tiny hands clutching a microphone. They looked out at the sea of faces, their confidence unwavering. "Hi, everyone," Emma began, her voice clear and cheerful. "We're Emma and Ellie," Ellie continued, her tone equally enthusiastic. "And we're conjoined twins." The audience erupted into applause, the sound echoing through the auditorium. The twins beamed, their energy infectious. "We want to tell you what it's like to be us," Emma said. "It's fun because we always have each other. But sometimes people stare at us," Ellie added, her expression turning serious. "And that makes us feel different." "But different isn't bad," Emma chimed in, her voice firm. "It's what makes us special." As they spoke, the audience listened intently, their expressions a mix of admiration and awe. The twins shared stories about their daily lives, their favorite activities, and how they supported each other through challenges. By the end of their talk, the students gave them a standing ovation, their cheers ringing loud and clear. Afterward, children approached the twins, asking questions and sharing their own experiences of feeling different. One little boy, who used a wheelchair, said, "I get stared at too. But you make me feel like it's okay." "It is okay," Ellie said, reaching out to hold his hand. "Being different is awesome." As Emma and Ellie's confidence grew, so did their desire to make a difference. They began participating in more events, speaking at schools, and even attending conferences about inclusivity and acceptance. Their voices carried a wisdom far beyond their years, and their ability to connect with others was nothing short of extraordinary. But with their growing influence came inevitable backlash. Online forums and social media platforms buzzed with debates about their condition, with some people questioning whether their parents were exploiting them for attention. Clara and Mark tried to shield the twins from the negativity, but Emma and Ellie were perceptive. One day, as they sat around the dinner table, Emma asked, "Why don't some people like us?" Clara's heart sank. She set down her fork and looked at her daughters, her expression tender. "It's not that they don't like you, sweetie. Some people are afraid of things they don't understand. But that doesn't make what they say true." Mark chimed in, his voice steady. "You've already shown so many people how amazing you are. Focus on that, and don't let the negative voices get to you." Emma and Ellie nodded, their determination shining through. "We'll keep being us," Ellie said firmly. "Because we're awesome," Emma added with a grin. As the twins approached their 5th birthday, Clara and Mark decided to throw them a party that celebrated their journey and the incredible impact they had made. They invited family, friends, and members of the community who had supported them along the way. The backyard was transformed into a vibrant celebration, complete with balloons, streamers, and a giant cake that read, "Emma and Ellie, 5 years of awesome." The twins ran around with their friends, their laughter filling the air as they played games and opened presents. Toward the end of the party, Clara tapped a glass to get everyone's attention. "Thank you all for being here to celebrate Emma and Ellie," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "These past 5 years have been a journey of growth, love, and learning. And these 2 amazing girls have taught us more than we ever thought possible." She looked down at the twins, who stood beside her, their faces glowing with happiness. "Emma and Ellie, you've shown us the power of resilience and the beauty of being different. We're so proud of you, and we can't wait to see all the incredible things you'll do." The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, and the twins hugged their parents tightly. "We love you, Mommy and Daddy," they said in unison. "And we love you," Clara and Mark replied. Despite the highs, there were still moments of struggle. As the twins grew older, they began to grapple with more complex questions about their future. Would they be able to live independently? Pursue careers? Fall in love? One evening, as Clara tucked them into bed, Ellie asked, "Mommy, Will we always be together? Clara paused, her heart aching at the question. You'll always have each other, she said gently. And no matter what, your dad and I will be here to support you. But what if people don't understand us? Emma asked, her voice small. Then you show them who you are, Clara said, stroking their hair. You're strong, smart, and kind. The right people will see that. The twins nodded, their trust in their mother evident. Okay, Ellie said. We'll keep being us. And we'll keep making you proud, Emma added. As Emma and Ellie turned 6, they began to take an even greater interest in the world around them. They often peppered Clara and Mark with questions about life, science, and even the future. Their insatiable curiosity and sharp intellect made them stand out, not just as individuals but as a team with an extraordinary bond. One day, while sitting at the kitchen table drawing pictures, Ellie looked up at Clara. Mom, what do you think we'll do when we grow up? Clara smiled, setting down her mug of tea. I think you can do anything you set your minds to. What do you want to do? Emma grinned. I want to be a scientist. I want to learn everything about the stars. Ellie nodded in agreement. And I want to be an artist. I'll draw what Emma finds in space. Clara chuckled. That sounds like a wonderful plan. You two always manage to work together. Mark walked in, overhearing the conversation. That's because they're the perfect team, he said, sitting beside them. You've already accomplished so much together. Imagine what you'll do in the future. The twins beamed, their dreams growing bigger with every word of encouragement. At school, Emma and Ellie continued to thrive academically, but not without challenges. While most of their classmates adored them, a few children found their differences unsettling. One afternoon, during recess, a boy named Jacob pointed at the twins and said loudly, "You're weird. Why do you have 2 heads?" The playground fell silent as the other children turned to look. Emma and Ellie exchanged a glance, their connection giving them the courage to respond. We're not weird, Ellie said firmly, stepping forward. We're just different, Emma added, her tone calm but strong. And different is okay. A girl named Mia, one of their closest friends, stepped beside them. Yeah, they're awesome. They know more about space than anyone in the whole school. Other children chimed in, defending the twins and praising their unique qualities. Jacob, caught off guard by the united front, muttered an apology before walking away. When Clara picked them up from school that afternoon, Emma and Ellie recounted the incident. We told him we're not weird, Emma said proudly. And our friends stood up for us, Ellie added. Clara hugged them tightly, her heart swelling with pride. You're both so brave. Never let anyone make you feel less than amazing. As the twins grew older, their story continued to inspire people far and wide. Clara and Mark decided to start a blog documenting their journey, hoping to create a space where they could share their experiences and connect with other families navigating similar challenges. The blog quickly gained a following, with readers praising the twins' resilience and the family's unwavering support. One evening, Clara read a comment aloud to the family. This one says, Emma and Ellie have shown me that being different is a gift, not a curse. Thank you for sharing your story. The twins smiled, their heads resting against Clara's shoulders. We like sharing our story, Ellie said. It helps people understand, Emma added. Mark nodded. And that's the most important thing. By sharing your experiences, you're helping make the world a better place. One of the most profound moments in the twins' journey came during a family trip to a science museum. Emma was especially excited, eager to learn more about space and the stars she loved so much. As they wandered through the exhibits, they stumbled upon a section dedicated to human anatomy and diversity. A large interactive display featured stories of people with unique physical conditions, from conjoined twins to individuals with rare genetic traits. Emma and Ellie stood in front of the exhibit, their eyes wide as they read about others who had faced similar challenges. They're like us, Ellie said softly, pointing to a story about conjoined twins who had become successful surgeons. Clara knelt beside them. That's right. There are so many people in the world who are different in amazing ways. And you're part of that group? Emma's face lit up. We can do big things too. You already are, Mark said, his voice filled with pride. The visit to the museum left a lasting impression on the twins. They began asking even more questions about the world and their place in it, determined to make a difference. As the years passed, Emma and Ellie's bond grew even stronger. They continued to defy expectations, excelling in school and pursuing their passions. Emma joined the school's science club, where she wowed her classmates with her knowledge of astronomy. Ellie, meanwhile, became a talented artist, her drawings often inspired by the stars Emma loved so much. At a school talent show, the twins decided to perform together. Emma presented a short lecture on the constellations, using Ellie's artwork as visuals. Their presentation was met with thunderous applause, and the principal later praised them for their teamwork and creativity. "You two are an inspiration," he said. "You show us all what's possible when we work together." Despite their success, the twins never forgot the lessons they had learned about resilience and acceptance. They continued to speak at events, sharing their story and encouraging others to embrace their differences. At one such event, a young girl approached them with tears in her eyes. "I get bullied because I look different," she said, her voice trembling. "But you make me feel like it's okay to be me." Emma and Ellie knelt down, their faces filled with empathy. "It is okay," Emma said. "You're perfect just the way you are. And if anyone makes you feel otherwise," Ellie added, "just remember you're stronger than they know." The girl smiled, her confidence bolstered by their words. Clara watched from a distance, her heart swelling with pride as she saw her daughters making a difference in the lives of others. As Emma and Ellie entered their teenage years, their journey continued to evolve in ways Clara and Mark hadn't fully anticipated. While the twins remained close and deeply supportive of one another, they began to develop more distinct personalities, interests, and goals. Emma's love for science grew even stronger, and she dreamed of becoming an astrophysicist. Ellie, on the other hand, had her heart set on becoming a professional artist, using her creativity to tell stories and inspire others. Their individuality brought new challenges as well. Both girls wanted to pursue their dreams independently, but their shared body required constant cooperation and compromise. Small disagreements, like what clothes to wear or how to spend their free time, occasionally turned into heated arguments. One evening, after a particularly intense disagreement about what after-school activity they should join, Clara sat them down at the kitchen table. "Listen," she began gently. "I know it's hard sometimes. You're two amazing people with your own dreams and ideas, but you share this incredible bond and body. That's not something many people can understand." Emma crossed her arms, looking frustrated. "I just wish Ellie would see that science is more important." Ellie frowned, shaking her head. "And I wish Emma would understand that art can be just as important." Clara reached out, placing a hand on each of their shoulders. "You're both right. Science and art are equally valuable, and you're both incredibly talented. The challenge is finding ways to support each other while also finding compromises that work for both of you." Mark walked into the room, overhearing the conversation. "You know, when I was growing up, my brother and I couldn't agree on anything," he said, sitting down. "But we realized that when we worked together, we could accomplish so much more. You two have something even stronger, a bond that most people can't even imagine. Use that to your advantage." The twins exchanged a glance, their frustration melting into understanding. "We'll try," Emma said. Ellie nodded. "Yeah, we'll figure it out." The girls began to find ways to balance their interests. Emma would spend time working on science projects while Ellie sketched in her notebook nearby. They learned to take turns choosing activities, whether it was visiting an art museum or attending a science fair. Over time, they found joy in supporting each other's passions, realizing that their unique connection made their dreams even more meaningful. One weekend, the family attended a community event showcasing local talent. Emma was excited to visit the astronomy exhibit, while Ellie was thrilled to see the artwork on display. As they moved through the event, they encountered a booth where artists and scientists collaborated on projects to visualize complex scientific concepts. Ellie's eyes lit up. Emma looked. "They're using art to explain science?" Emma grinned, her excitement matching Ellie's. "This is amazing. It's like our dreams coming together." They spent hours at the booth, talking to the artists and scientists about their work. The experience sparked a new idea for the twins. combining their talents to create educational materials that made science accessible and engaging for everyone. Back at home, Emma and Ellie began working on their first project, a series of illustrated guides to the solar system. Emma provided detailed explanations of each planet, while Ellie brought the descriptions to life with vibrant, imaginative drawings. The process was a perfect blend of their individual strengths, and they both felt a deep sense of accomplishment when the project was complete. Clara and Mark were amazed by their work. "This is incredible," Clara said, flipping through the pages. "You found a way to combine your talents in such a beautiful way." Mark nodded. "You should share this with others. It could inspire so many people." Encouraged by their parents, the twins decided to submit their project to a national science and art competition. Weeks later, they received a letter in the mail announcing that they had won first place. The news was met with cheers and celebration in the household, and the twins were invited to present their work at a conference. The conference was a turning point for Emma and Ellie. They stood on stage in front of a large audience, presenting their project with confidence and enthusiasm. As they spoke, they shared not only their love for science and art, but also their journey as conjoined twins. "We've learned that being different isn't a limitation," Emma said, her voice steady. "It's an opportunity to see the world in a unique way. And when we work together," Ellie added, "we can accomplish things we never thought possible." The audience erupted into applause, and the twins received a standing ovation. After the presentation, people approached them to express their admiration and gratitude. "You've shown us that differences are something to celebrate," one woman said, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for being an inspiration." As their story gained even more attention, Emma and Ellie were approached by publishers, organizations, and even television networks wanting to collaborate with them. They worked with a team to create a book series based on their illustrated guides, which quickly became a hit with children and educators alike. Their unique perspective and combined talents resonated with readers, and the twins found themselves in the spotlight once again. But with their success came new challenges. Balancing their busy schedules with school and personal time became increasingly difficult. Clara and Mark did their best to provide support, but the twins often felt overwhelmed by the demands on their time. One evening, as they sat in their rooms surrounded by books and sketches, Ellie sighed. "Do you ever feel like we're doing too much?" Emma nodded, setting down her pen. "Sometimes. But I don't want to let anyone down." "We won't," Ellie said, her tone reassuring. "But maybe we need to take a step back and figure out what's most important to us." They talked late into the night, reflecting on their journey and what they truly wanted to achieve. By the end of the conversation, they had a clearer sense of purpose and a renewed determination to focus on the projects that mattered most to them. Over the next few years, Emma and Ellie continued to grow as individuals and as a team. They became advocates for inclusion and diversity, using their platform to raise awareness about the beauty of differences. Their work inspired countless people around the world, proving that challenges could be turned into strengths. One day, as they prepared for a keynote speech at an international conference, Clara hugged them tightly. "You've come so far," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "I'm so proud of the young women you've become." Emma and Ellie smiled, their bond stronger than ever. "We couldn't have done it without you and Dad," Ellie said. Emma nodded. "You've always believed in us, even when things were hard." "And we always will," Clara said, "because you're both incredible." By the time Emma and Ellie reached their late teens, they had become global icons for resilience, creativity, and unity. Their book series had expanded to include topics ranging from environmental science to historical innovations, all brought to life through Ellie's stunning illustrations and Emma's insightful explanations. Schools across the world incorporated their work into curriculums, and their names became synonymous with the phrase, turning differences into strengths. Despite their public success, the twins cherished the quieter moments at home with their family. Clara and Mark made sure to create a sanctuary where Emma and Ellie could relax, reflect, and simply be themselves. They often spent evenings in the living room, playing board games, watching movies, or talking about their dreams for the future. One night, as the family sat by the fireplace, Ellie looked at Emma with a mischievous grin. "Do you think we'll ever go to space?" Emma laughed. "Why not? We've already shown people that anything is possible. Clara raised an eyebrow. Fisa? That's a big dream. Mark nodded in agreement. But if anyone can make it happen, it's you too. Ellie's eyes sparkled. Maybe I'll paint the first mural on the moon. And I'll help design the spaceship, Emma added, her excitement infectious. The family laughed together, the warmth of their bond filling the room. It was moments like these that reminded Clara and Mark of the incredible journey they had shared with their daughters, one filled with challenges, triumphs, and an unbreakable love. As the twins prepared to graduate from high school, they faced a new chapter in their lives. Colleges and universities across the country had reached out, offering scholarships and opportunities tailored to their unique talents. Emma had her heart set on studying astrophysics, while Ellie wanted to pursue fine arts. The question of how to balance their individual ambitions with their shared life loomed large. One evening, as they sat in their room surrounded by college brochures, Ellie sighed. How are we going to make this work, Emma? Your classes will be so different from mine. Emma looked thoughtful. We've always found a way, haven't we? Maybe we can choose a university that supports both our goals. Ellie nodded, her determination returning. You're right. We'll figure it out. After weeks of discussions and campus visits, the twins decided on a university with strong programs in both science and the arts. The school worked closely with them to create a schedule that allowed them to attend their respective classes while still supporting each other's needs. It was a challenge, but one they faced with the same resilience and teamwork that had defined their lives. College brought new experiences and opportunities for Emma and Ellie. Emma thrived in her astrophysics program, delving into the mysteries of the universe with a passion that impressed her professors. Ellie, meanwhile, became a standout in the art department, her work drawing attention for its unique blend of scientific precision and emotional depth. The twins' collaboration continued to flourish, with Ellie creating visuals for Emma's research projects and Emma providing scientific context for Ellie's art. Their work was showcased at university events, earning praise from both the academic and artistic communities. One evening, as they worked on a joint project for an upcoming exhibit, Emma looked at Ellie with a smile. You know, I think we're proving that science and art aren't so different after all. Ellie nodded, her brush moving across the canvas. They both help us understand the world, just in different ways. As their college years went on, Emma and Ellie became mentors to younger students, sharing their story and encouraging others to embrace their unique perspectives. They started a campus organization called United Perspectives, which brought together students from diverse backgrounds to collaborate on interdisciplinary projects. The group quickly grew, becoming a hub for innovation and inclusion. One day, a first-year student approached them after a meeting. I just wanted to say thank you, she said, her voice trembling with emotion. I've always felt like I didn't belong because I'm different. But seeing you two and hearing your story, it's changed the way I see myself. Emma and Ellie smiled, their hearts full. You do belong, Emma said. And your differences are your strength. Ellie added, the world needs more people who see things differently. Keep being you. After graduating with honors, Emma and Ellie embarked on their next adventure, sharing their message with the world. They toured internationally, giving talks, hosting workshops, and collaborating with organizations dedicated to education, inclusion, and innovation. Their ability to bridge gaps between disciplines and connect with people from all walks of life made them powerful advocates for change. During one of their tours, they were invited to speak at a global conference on diversity and innovation. Standing on the stage before thousands of attendees, they shared their journey with their signature blend of humor, honesty, and inspiration. We've learned that being different isn't something to hide, Ellie said, her voice steady and clear. It's something to celebrate. And when we embrace our differences, Emma added, we can create a world that's richer, stronger, and more united. The audience erupted into applause, and the twins received a standing ovation. It was a moment that underscored the impact they had made, not just as individuals but as a team that had turned their challenges into opportunities. As the years went by, Emma and Ellie continued to break barriers and inspire others. They published more books, collaborated on groundbreaking projects, and even launched their own foundation to support education and inclusion. Their story became a testament to the power of resilience, creativity, and love. One evening, as they sat on the porch of their childhood home with Clara and Mark, Emma looked up at the stars. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Ellie smiled, leaning against her sister. "All the time. And I can't wait to see what's next." Clara reached over, taking their hands in hers. "No matter where life takes you, remember that you've already made the world a better place." Mark nodded, his voice filled with pride. "You've shown everyone what's possible when you embrace who you are." The twins exchanged a glance, their connection as strong as ever. "We couldn't have done it without you," Emma said. Ellie added, "You believed in us when no one else did." "And we always will," Clara said, her voice soft but unwavering. As they sat together, the stars shining brightly above, Emma and Ellie felt a deep sense of gratitude for their family, their journey, and the bond that had carried them through every challenge and triumph. They knew that their story was far from over and that the best was yet to come.